Hello, denizens of the internet. I apologize for my coldy voice. As often happens when publishing a video, I get comments, reactions, and I contemplate. Regarding my less than enthusiastic South Park Panderverse video review, the vast majority of you agreed that you liked the show, but it missed the mark to some degree. Still others expressed the weird notion that at my age I should not be enjoying myself anymore. But the real big story here is, why does it seem that only South Park remains to wave the banner for scathing, ironic, insightful comedy? As disagreeable as I was towards the Pandaverse episode, which I've been told is just one in a series, I don't think it's fair that Trey and Matt seem to be the only ones left to carry this comedy burden on their own shoulders. Of course, that's not true. There are any number of stand-ups grinding out live specials who are dealing with taboo topics head-on, such as Ricky Gervais. Bill Barr does a good job of it. But I don't think this is enough to get society at large to laugh at its foibles and prejudices, especially now with all this woke nonsense. I think the problem is actually volume, as in enough of it. Comedy used to be everywhere, in the movies, sketch shows, on TV. More and better comedians telling the truth like George Carlin and Richard Pryor. And really, I think it's a TV thing. I don't have to name all these socially conscious sitcoms that subtly and not so subtly poke fun at our prejudices. TV provided an almost universal distribution system that could affect many millions all at once. Yes, everyone mentions Norman Lear's stable of sitcoms like All in the Family and Maude, but don't discount shows like the Beverly Hillbillies and Green Acres, which did their share of social engineering in more subtle ways and often outrageous ways. The anarchic sketch shows, which included the Smothers Brothers, In Living Color, Sonny and Cher, Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In, Mad TV, and even SNL in its heyday, where they were the court jesters, not afraid to tweak the noses of the establishment. There was Johnny Carson's monologue, which, if you listen to them now, Johnny had some very scathing barbs directed towards all political parties. This might come as a shock, but I had not given up on watching SNL. I know it's everyone's favorite punching bag, but I've watched it every Saturday until when Elon Musk guest hosted and several cast members refused to either appear with him or perform on the show at all because he's a capitalist monster. That was it for me. What childish woke nonsense. I fear for the survival of comedy. We need it now more than ever. Humor in print was huge. Mad Magazine, National Lampoon, and Spy Magazine here in North America were mandatory reads. The slow death of network TV really has been harmful. Starring in or writing for a sitcom was the goal of almost every sketch comedy troupe and stand-up. At least all your hard work for little to no pay could amount to something. Not anymore. Comedy movies have almost disappeared, it seems, along with the demise of network TV and movies providing that important incentive as career goals. I believe there were 3 other seismic events that changed comedy. One was the Charlie Hebdo incident, where it turned out that certain adherents to the religion of peace will actually kill you for defaming a dead person. This really put a chill in comedy, or more correctly, venues where comedians performed, humor publications, TV, and movies. Father Ted wonderfully skewered the Catholic faith, yet its creator, Graham Linehan, was not threatened with death by the Holy See. That came much later, when he dared to say women don't have penises. Before I get to the woke festation that has killed the careers of many stand-ups, comedians, and writers and actors, let me dive into the other seismic occurrence. That was Donald Trump. Trump helped kill comedy. Or more accurately, left-leaning comedians and media outlets that hated Trump so much did that. They gorged on it, and so we got saturated. And it became so easy for comedians to walk into a like-minded club and yell, Trump, and you'd get a 10-minute standing ovation. That wasn't comedy. The Trump epoch created lazy comedians. Just look at the late-night hosts. The UK had its Trump moment with Brexit, which split the country, and pro-Brexit comedians could not find jobs in the clubs. British comedians have been cancelled from the Fringe Festival for being non-conforming. Mispronouncing someone will land you in jail. BBC shows that featured comedians making fun of the week's events have disappeared or recast with unfunny DEI hires. Fawlty Towers, voted the best British sitcom of all time, has had episodes banned or cut up. Stand-up is still a respected, anarchic art form in the US. Not all clubs have gone woke, but in the UK it's dreadful. Almost all the clubs have gone woke. But it's still not as bad as Iran. A comedian there was recently tortured and killed. Tough crowd. Comedy is under attack. Before I finish off with discussing wokeism, I just wanted to say that the targets for satire have also changed. In the late 60s era of the Smothers Brothers, you could say they had a lot of low-hanging fruit to pick from. Though at the time, it didn't feel that way. There was Vietnam, black racism, a conservatism that could not figure out the hippie movement. David Steinberg, a fellow Canadian, it has been told, did one of his hilarious sermons about God, which caused CBS to not air the show, whereby the brothers were canceled. Living in a more conservative, religious world, it was just easier to be anarchic and poke fun at institutions. All you had to do was smoke dope in a movie and slur your words. Dave's not here, man. 7 words that you can't say on TV were highly offensive and problematic. When the British comedy show Beyond the Fringe made fun of Prime Minister Harold Wilson in 1964, it was front-page news. The comedy group I was in, The Frantics, which you've heard me make mention of, did a bit called Heaven is for Presbyterians, which truly got a rise out of people in its time. But except for Lenny Bruce, we weren't arrested, threatened, or beaten up for our bits. And the comedy venues were on our side. They were supportive. They didn't freak out when one person complained. That's nothing compared to the cancel culture mob that is out there now. I noticed it when we were performing at colleges and universities in the 80s, how they were telling us to tone down our routines. We stopped doing those gigs. We performed at prisons. They were more flexible. Didn't see it at the time, but it was there, the slow creep to diversity, equity, and inclusive totalitarianism. Now more than ever, we need a massive comedy enema. During the Cold War, the citizens of communist countries behind the Iron Curtain got news and broadcasts about the world that was off limits to them through Radio Free Europe. We need a radio-free comedy, broadcasting acerbic wit, sarcasm, irony, and parody everywhere. And so it should not be just up to Trey and Matt to hold the fort and fight the fight. Would love to hear your thoughts. Till next time, denizens, be seeing you.